us on YouTube. Hi everyone, we're going live in 4 minutes. A few people in the chat. Hi everybody, welcome to Hi everybody, welcome to Tuesday training. My name's David and we're going to go through the system together. So let me show you the slides. Could you show the slides? Excellent. So we're going to go through what's new in Deskera, UAE compliance, new reports and report builder, as well as module-wise access control for user management. Let me now share my screen. All right. Now let me share my screen here. Okay. So let's start with UAE. So first, let's go to settings. And inside settings, let's go to the organization profile. And let's click the pencil icon. Inside here, we've selected the tax registry of United Arab Emirates. And if we go to compliance, this is where we can input our VAT number. We can input, is your business located in a designated zone? And you can enable trade with contacts outside the UAE. And if so, you select which account. And activate excise. And you select the excise account here. Then you input your address. And you select the emirate. Next, let's go to contacts. And let's create a new contact. So inside here, you'll just input the name like usual. Auto numbering format, email. And here's the tax treatment. So inside here, you have your VAT registered and your non-VAT registered. Your GCC, which is your Gulf, full form. It's your Gulf Cooperation Council. So if you're in the Gulf Cooperation Council, part of these countries, then you can select GCC VAT registered or GCC non-VAT registered. And there's also non-GCC. You also have VAT registered designated zone, as well as non-VAT registered designated zone. So you select which one's applicable to you for this company, and then you input the VAT registration number. Then you put in any accounting information, and then you put in the address. The key thing here is the emirate. So you have to select which emirate you're in. This will then be picked up in the reports. And then you can save it. Next, let's go to products. And this is where we can create a new product. And of course, you have non-tracked, tracked, and bill of materials. If it's a tracked product, you'll see down here is excise product. If it is, then you can choose the percentage on product cost. So what is the excise rate? For example, maybe 5, 10, 50, 100%, based upon the product, of course. Then inside here, you can select your purchase account, purchase tax. So we have, of course, 0 rated. We also have VAT as well. And you can select which one and exempt. So you select which one's applicable for this product. Inventory, of course, you can enable advanced tracking, which is your batch tracking serial number and your multiple UOM and any opening quantity evaluation. And you can also add any variants here, and then you can save it. Yes, actually, let's also go to settings. And inside here, let's go to tax. So these are the tax types. You have 0 rated, you have VAT, you have exempt, and you're able to create and add taxes here as well, and create your own tax, name, percentage, tax code, and which tax account it goes under. And does it apply to sales, purchases, or both? Next, let's go to buy. Inside here, I can click create new, and I can create a new bill. I can select the contact here. For example, I can select the different regions. And then I can add the line item. And I can autofill products from previous bill, which is pretty cool. Let's go here. I guess there was no previous bill. Select the product, then put the quantity. And then I can see my VAT here, and unit price is VAT inclusive. But if I change it, for example, to contact India, for example, then this appears. This transaction is applicable for reverse charge. If it's applicable for reverse charge, you can tick this, and you can see the VAT becomes NA. and RCM becomes 5%. So you can set this up here. That way it's recorded, a journal entry will be created, and that way you can track it so you know how much you have to pay to the government based upon your period. And then you can save and close. Now let's go to sell. Inside here, we can create a quote or an invoice. Select the contact. Let's choose this one this time. Let's add a product. Prod 10, for example. Prod 1. And you can see the VAT amount here and the tax amount and the amount as well based upon the 200. If I hover over there, I can also see the history price, which is also kind of cool. I can also add in other items as well. For example, excisable product. And I can see the excise here and the tax amount. So it's taking the 200 and then it's taking the excise amount. And then the tax amount is based upon the unit price plus the excise. And then you have the total amount here. And then I can save and close. And finally, let's go to reports. So inside here, we can see our financial and we can see our tax. So we have the VAT return 201 report here. So inside here, I can see my report. I can select the period. Let me choose a different period. Okay. And I can see the different rates based upon the different locations. So for example, Dubai and other locations here, I can see amount, VAT, VAT on expense of all other inputs, net VAT due. So I can see all the information here from this report. So that's a quick look at UAE compliance in Deskera Books. Next, we're going to go to user management. So this is something that I know some people have been asking for. And inside here, so if you go to user management inside the Go page, you can now click edit for each user. And then I can decide which module they should have access to. So for example, if I only want my employee to have access to the buy module, I can deactivate sell, meaning he doesn't need to manage or read sell transactions. I can just say he cannot manage or read products or contacts. So I can choose what he has access to and what he does not have access to. Like don't want accounting, account, definitely not my bank, not assets. Don't want him to import or export. Definitely don't want him to touch my taxes. So I can set it up the way I want. And then I can save it. And it's updating the user. Next, we can go to the report builder, and I can create new reports. And you can see here that we have some new reports here, like deal conversion report, contacts with deals, deals one contact list, campaign status report, unsubscribed report. So we have our CRM reports here. So for example, if I go to my deal conversion report, I can see the information, I can export it or download it here. Also, I can email it, print it, based upon my requirements, that I can save it. All right. So any questions so far before we start going through the overview? All right. So let's go to Deskera Books. Inside here, I'm at the dashboard. I can see the invoice, age receivables, bills, bank accounts, net cash flow, the profit and loss, all my information right here. I can go to settings, go to my organization profile, click edit, and I can add an image, see my name, my tax registry. This is where you can change your date format. So if the date format is not meeting what you want it to look like, I can change it, for example, day, month, year, or month, day, year. That should have a dash, should have space. You can choose which one you'd like. Under finance, this is where I can enable my multi-currency. So if I want multi-currency, I can go here, click this widget, and it'll automatically activate. I can select the number of decimal places. So we have 2. When you set up the system, it has 2 decimal places, but you can increase it to 3 or 4. Please take note, you can increase, but after you increase, you cannot decrease it back, as it'll affect some of the reports. We have our number format, so you can change your number format here to what you'd like. We have a compliance. So based upon different countries, this field will change. Like I was showing you earlier, the UAE, this information was quite different. Since this is a Singapore company, this is asking for my UEN, GST, and whether I want to opt in for e-invoicing. If I do, I can leave the registration instructions. I can download the authorization letter, print it out, sign and stamp it, then submit it, and then we'll update your PEPO ID to your organization settings. You can then update after we send you the PEPO ID. And then you can add in your address. As you can see, you can have multiple addresses here based upon your requirements. We have currency. So this is where you're able to activate and deactivate your currency. For example, let's say pound sterling. I just click on the eye icon to activate. If I want to activate multiple, I can just select them here and click activate. If I want to deactivate them, I just select the currencies I want to deactivate. I can click deactivate here. I'm also able to click on the eye icon deactivate. Now, if I want to change the rate, I can click change rate. And I can update the exchange rates. I can also see the exchange rate, effective date, and timestamp. You can see it's been updating every day. The reason for this is auto update FX rate is active, and I chose daily. You can choose daily, weekly, or monthly. I can also view historical rates for deactivated currencies here as well. I can see my taxes here. So I can see all my different tax types, and I'm able to add a tax. I'm also able to add a tax group. So if I want to group different taxes together, I can do this here. I can select the type. Is it sales, purchase, or both? And then I can select the tax components. This may or may not apply based upon which country you're in. So it may or may not be necessary. And then you can do pre-tax or after-tax. And then you can save it. We can set up different payment terms. So I can see all my different payment terms here, and I just can add a payment term. Select the days, and I can set the default. So if I want net 60 to come up every time, I can use this as default. So it'll be my default payment term. But if I don't, I can just save it. I can also change my payment terms here, set my default. So I can just click on the 3 dots, and I can then edit, delete, or set as default here. I can create my units of measurements, all my different ones here, and I can always add additional UOMs. And we have our UOM schema. So this is where I can create different schemas for my UOM. So what is a schema? It means that how does one UOM relate to another UOM? For example, maybe one box contains 10 packages, and one carton maybe contains 5 packages, for example. And I can set up that scheme of how they actually relate to each other. So for example, I have metrics here. And I can see here, for example, 1,000 grams equal 1 kg. 1 million grams equals a metric ton. You get the idea. And I can add in more and different ones. So for example, let's see. Now let me create a new one. Let's see. I can go here. Maybe I want this in pieces. And 1 piece equals, let's see, 10 pieces equal box. Let me change this to, for example, and then I can say, for example, 1 ton equals 1,000 pieces, for example, just to give you an idea. And then you can save it. We also have custom fields. So this is where you can set up your custom fields and create them. And you have a choice. It could be a text, multi-select dropdown, numbers. And I can set as mandatory or not. And I can put it in different availability, meaning do I want to put it in my contacts, products, accounts, my journal entries, my expenses and deposits, debit note, credit note. Do I want this for my quotations, invoice, purchase orders, or bills? And I can use these fields to actually filter out my reports as well as filter out my transactions. So if you want to be able to quickly filter them, then you can use these custom fields to do so. Or you can just use it for additional information. All right. We have email. So this is where you can actually put in your email information and then connect it. Once you connect it up, then you can start sending your email from this email ID. So I can send my emails, my invoices from this email ID here. I don't have to use the Deskera one. And we have sequence number. So inside here, you can have different running numbers for your quotation, invoice, order, and bill. And I can create multiple ones here as well. So I can add my own custom number range. Let's go to contacts. Inside here, I can import my contacts, export, and create a new contact. So inside the import option, you can just download a sample file and fill in the information. But if you have your own contacts already there, you can just drag and drop it inside here. Then you just map the fields, and then you can upload it. A contact is determined whether it's a vendor or a customer based upon the transaction. So if a contact has a sell transaction, it's considered a customer. Buy transaction, considered a vendor. If both sell and buy, then customer and vendor. Now, if I create a contact, I can input the name. Email address, contact UAN. This is a statutory compliance. It changes based on which country you select. So for Singapore, it shows UAN. Tax you saw for United Arab Emirates or UAE, it showed something different. Same thing if you select Malaysia, US, other countries, this also changes. Then you can put in the accounting information, address, and then you can save it. So for example, and it should pop up here, and I can just click it. I can save, and I can also add multiple addresses in here as well. All right, so let's go to products. Inside here, I can create a new product. And I have a choice. Is it non-tracked, tracked, or bill of material? So what is a non-tracked product? This can be like a service product, like an electrician, aircon repair, or aircon servicing. What my sister does, certified public accountant, does auditing. So it's different types of services that are available, or it can be just items that you don't want to keep track of, like coffee mugs, printing paper, anything like that. We also have our tracked products. So this could be, for example, your laptop, coffee mug, your iPhone, camera, or this wonderful speaker mic I'm talking into. Those can be all different products. Also, you can think of it like apples as well. I can put a description. I can put in a barcode. So if I input the barcode here, I can then use my mobile phone to scan in the items or connect a barcode scanner and scan it in. Under accounting, I can see purchase accounts, put in the purchase price, sales price. And I can set default. This is default purchase tax, that is default sales tax, my sales return. But the key thing is the inventory. So I can select my unit of measurement. So for example, created earlier pieces. Select my cost of goods sold, inventory, stock adjustment. And I'm able to enable advanced tracking. So I can create batch products and serial numbers. So batch tracking, meaning in this batch is a product that's been created. You may want to keep tracking. You can think of it like medicine, pharmaceutical products. You can think of it like rebar. It can be even food products, certain like canned foods and stuff like that that are sent. They all batch tracked, and you're able to keep track of where they are and which batch they belong to. That way, if there's a recall or something goes wrong, you can keep track of it, or you can easily identify it. Serial numbers for each individual. So for example, like your laptop has its own serial number, maybe your phone, your camera. So you want to track each product individually, each item individually, so that way you know which one is with which person. We also have opening quantity here. So opening quantity, so this is your opening amount, and you have your opening valuation. So what is opening valuation? Opening valuation is the total amount of your opening quantity. So these 10 pieces is equal to $1,203. For example. Now we have variants. Inside here, we could have multiple variants like size and color. For example, you may have different t-shirts, and different t-shirts may be red, blue, green, purple, and different sizes, medium, large, small. And you have different materials of that product. So for example, I can do red, blue, green. I can add in the size, large, small. And since this product is an apple, if I remember correctly, but whoever saw a blue apple, remove that. Maybe I don't want material. I want brand, for example. So BRAND, add. So maybe BG, Cal for California. And then I can go and save it. And you can see my red large BG, my red large California. I can input the barcode, update the sales price, update the opening quantity valuation, and I can delete them. So for example, you may have products that do not come in that size. For example, you may have only large and medium-sized red shirts. Or maybe, for example, Fiji red apples only come in large. So I just delete that, and it's removed. Maybe, for example, Fiji only comes in small green apples and large red apples. So I can delete the ones I want, and then I can generate it. And the products will be generated. But I want to go back. And I want to add in a bill of material as our last product. So what is a bill of material? You can think of it like an assembly product, like you have your computer, your desktop computer, you have your lap, you have your, what's it called, casing, your CPU, your hard drive, your motherboard, your fan, and you put it all together to form it. You can think of it also like food products, like recipes. You can think of it like chicken soup. You have your chicken broth, your noodles, your vegetables, you combine it all together. You can also think of it like a package, like you have a Christmas package, a Chinese New Year package, or you just have a deal. You can think of it like, okay, maybe I'll have a keyboard, monitor, computer, mouse, all together, and I'm selling you this as a package. Just to give you some examples. And then after that, you can see an inventory. We have our manufacturing count added, and then we can add in our bill of materials, such as our monitor, our keyboard, mouse. And then maybe I want to add additional chart costs. So for example, maybe assembly, packaging, depending on if packaging is a material or it keeping as a material or not. So for example, maybe $10, just for example, and then I can save it. And my computer said it's been added. After that, I can click here to build and assemble, and I can see the maximum numbers assembly I can assemble it for. And if I don't want the products anymore, I can just click and I can delete it. Please take note, you cannot delete if a transaction's already been created. All right, so next let's go to sell. Inside here, I can create a quotation or invoice. So let's create an invoice. I can add my contact. So and if I want to create a contact, I can create a contact directly from the screen. For example, Kelly's Computers. I can choose the outlet, see all my custom fields here. And if I want to add a custom field, I can do it directly from the screen. I don't have to go back. So that's one of the great things is if I want to add in a contact, I can create it directly from the screen. I want to add in a custom field, I can do it directly from the screen. If I want to add in a product, I can actually create it directly from the screen by clicking Add Product. For example, mouse. I can see there's 817 mouses available. Let's sell 500. I can select the quantity here. For example, it's in pieces. And I can put in a discount. I can remove or update the tax. I can say is price included. Price is tax inclusive. Memo, attach file. Hide or remove custom fields by clicking here. So I can show and disable the ones I don't want. Set as recurring. So for example, if this is supposed to recur every month, every 3 months, every year. For example, maybe it's a software as a service and you need to renew every year. You can set it up here. And I have my I can set it yearly, monthly, weekly, or custom. And if I select custom, I can select my intervals as month, week, days. So every 15 days, for example. And I can do my first document date. And I can set my end date or never ends. And I can also set up my auto send. So sender name, sender to. Hi, I can add in placeholders. For example, contact name. Of course, if you're going to send it out, you have to have a send to email address. And then I can just go ahead and save it here. Under more options, this is where we can set up multi-currency options. And I can select my currency. For example, maybe Australian dollar. I can see the exchange rate and I can change it directly on the screen. So I don't have to go back to my currency. I can change it directly here. I can also manage. So this allows me to change the labels because your business, you may not have products. It may be services. You may want to call it something else. So I can change the labels for item, description, quantity, price, and discount. I can change my running number, and I can also do custom number format here. And we have the setup payments. So for example, I'm connected to Stripe. If you connect to PayPal or other, I'm connected to PayPal. If I'm connected to Stripe, I can click here. And if I click to PayPal, please provide contact email address. Oops. And this will auto-populate if you put the email address inside Kelly's Computers or your contact. I did not update that, so that's why it's not showing. So now I can see payment is PayPal. And I can save and close. Now an email will be sent to that email address informing that I have to pay. Now if I click the 3 dots, I can fulfill. I can fulfill with direct fulfillment, pick, pack, ship, and drop ship. So pick, pack, ship is where I go and pick the quantity, I pack it, and I ship it out. Drop ship is where the customer places an order with me. I place an order with my vendor, and my vendor sends it directly to my customer. And if we do direct fulfillment, it's just asking for the primary warehouse, ship from, fulfillment date, the item, committed quantity, and stock left, and I just click fulfill. And now it's fulfilled. And the key thing is I can do partial fulfillment or completely fulfill it. It's up to you on how you want to do it. Now let's get paid. Inside here, I can select the currency. So for example, if I don't want SGD, I want Australian dollar or New Zealand, I can change it. And you can see the currency updates. Also, my bank will change based upon the currency because it will determine whether or not it's an SGD bank, an Australian bank, New Zealand bank. So it'll look for that to determine if you're depositing that into there. I can also do partial. So for example, if I only want to pay 2,600, I can do that. I can decide is it a check, bank transfer, or cash. So let's do a check this time. Let's input the check number. Let's click next. And let's receive. After that, I can then print it out. Also, I can print out my check. I can select my document template. And the check is printing. And it all depends on your template. So for example, I'm just using our system default. So that's what's showing here. And you can see it's partially paid. All right. Next, let's go to accounting. So I just want to quickly mention what's in accounting. We have our chart of accounts, journal entries, and our opening balances. Opening balances are based upon your book beginning date. Anything before your book beginning date is considered openings. And if they're openings, then you have to input the opening amounts for your chart of accounts, your opening quantity for your inventory, and under contacts, any openings for your invoices and for your bills. And we have the import option for all three. We also have debit note, credit note, expense, deposits, and this is your financial year closing. So this is where you can set it up. And you can determine if it's yearly, monthly, quarterly, or it's custom. Let's go to banks. Inside here, I can see my different banks. I can click reconcile. I can import a bank statement, and I can connect to a bank. So for example, let me go here. Let me click connect. Connect to a new bank. And then I can type in the name, for example, OCBC. I can select the bank here. You also see banks down here from Wise, Burdell, United Overseas Bank, Standard Chartered. I can also click on that, input the username and password here. All right. So if I can't find my bank or my bank's in another country, for example, like Wells Fargo, which is my US bank, I can click on Plaid or Yodlee, and then I can find a bank there. For example, Yodlee. So I go, Plaid. So I go here, I can click Get Started. And then I can go and look at my bank. So for example, that's the US bank. Oops. Sorry, I clicked too fast, as they say. All right. So the key thing is you connect to your bank, and that way the transactions are actually pooling into the system, your bank transactions. Then you can decide on bank rules. So based upon those bank rules, you can determine if you want to have that transaction be created as an expense or a deposit, a direct expense or a direct deposit. Go input in it. For example, okay. It already exists. me go back to my bank. Let's go to connect to bank, agree and connect. Can't find your bank. Laid. Get started. And you can see Wells Fargo's here, or I can just search for the bank here. So it's all up to you. Put in your username and password and submit, or you can close it. Yes, exit. So we can go back to rules. So I was talking about rules here. So this is where you can make rules based upon whether you import a statement or you're connecting to your bank and the bank transactions are flowing into your system. For example, this one I want to is a debit type. As for my SG bank, and I'm saying these conditions, you can do and or, and you can add additional conditions here based on your requirements. And then I can determine how the transaction is created. Payment method, transaction, direct expense, prepayment, and is it review and create or auto create? So for example, if my StarHub bill comes in all the time, maybe I want it to be auto created because I know exactly that's going to be what it's going to be. And then it'll automatically update. If not, then I have to review and check. All right, so let's go to reports. Inside here, I can see all my different financial reports. And if I click on side here and I click on filters, I'm able to filter based upon custom fields that I was talking about earlier. So I can search for my custom field. And then I can select the value here. And then I can save it and it should filter out accordingly. So I can see here my profit. I see I've not done any expenses for that, so that's very interesting. But you can always do that here. And I can also choose accrual of cash information. So that's one of the great things is you can filter out your different finance reports by custom fields. We have a bank reconciliation, statement of accounts. This is your tax report, so it changes based upon which country you select. So for example, if you're in Singapore, we have our GST report log. I can click on the settings, update the information, and I can create based upon GST Form 5, 7, and 8. And it'll show me the information based upon the period. We also have our IRAS, our GST report. Again, these reports all change based upon which country you select. Our purchases reports, for example, outstanding purchases, goods received report. Our stock available at warehouse, stock aging. So you can see how old your stock's in the system. So this may be very important. You can see what's fast moving, slow moving. For example, 30 days, I see a lot of apples. But I can see, for example, my good old computers, I have 915, it's been there for over 120 days. And even my, what's it called, keyboards have been there long, but I'm purchasing new ones so I can find out what's going on there. And then we have our sales report, so I can see my age receivable. Who owes me money? And then I can figure out how best to get my money. My outstanding sales fulfillment report, quotation report, receipts and credit report. Next, let's just quickly go to apps. Inside here, we have our different payment gateways. We have Veeam, PayPal, Stripe. Veeam, you can only use if your base currency is USD. We also have Wise here as well. We also have our fixed assets, stock transfers, and stock adjustments here. And we connect to Integrately, Payroll Connect, Zapier, and Integromat. And we also have ePay and eCom. So let me just show you ePay and eCom. So inside here, you're able to connect to Amazon, Shopify, and WooCommerce. So I can see the information. I can see my orders, my customers, my products. Same thing for WooCommerce. I can see them all in here as well. So if you connect to them, they'll sync in your products, your contacts, and your different transactions into the system. Now we have our different payments. So for example, we have OpenNode, and we also have RazorPay as well. And I can see here my different actions. I can see I've sent one for Awesome Ideas for RazorPay and OpenNode. And I'm able to share these. For example, share snippet. For OpenNode, it's for payment in Bitcoin. So I can copy the snippet, send it off to my customer, email it to them, and they can pay me off in Bitcoin. All right. Oops, sorry. And that's a quick look at Deskera Books. Do we have any questions? None. Okay. So next, let's go to Deskera Sales. Inside here, I'm in the dashboard. I can see my organizations, people's, deals lost, deals won, contact report, my deal stages based on my different pipelines, deals won versus deals lost, campaigns, and my total tickets. If I go to settings, I can see my users. And if I click on users, you see I'm taken to the Go page. We have our team settings. So what is this team settings? For deals and for contacts, you can change the visibility to private, which means the owner or sub-owner can see, team, which means the team can see, and everyone, so everyone can see. So this is where you can set up your different teams. You can put in the different members of your team in here and add them in. And that way, if they are assigned as owner or sub-owner, one of the team members, the whole team can see it. We also have custom fields. So this is where you can set up all your different custom fields. And you can set up a text box, a single selection drop-down menu, numbers, country, currency, and date. And then you can select the availability. Is it in your contact or in your deals? We're also able to connect to your email. So once you connect to your email, then you can start sending emails from your contacts and from your deals. And once they reply to the contacts or deals, it'll also be recorded in the system. We have our integration settings, so you're able to integrate with Microsoft 365, Google Tag Manager, and webhooks. We have our different guides, or our guide screen. This is where you can put in your domain, and you put in your hero image, logo, and favicon. So you just type in the name of the domain you want, and it checks its availability. And then after that, if it's available, then you can then look at your hero image, logo, and favicon. Under settings, you can activate it, and you can deactivate the Powered by Deskera logo if you want. After that, you can save and open. And then you can see your announcements, your FAQs inside here. Inside tickets, I can see my support email that's connected. So if I add support email, I just put in the sender email address, username, password, incoming server and port, outgoing server and port, and allow non-secure certificates, and then I can connect it on up. Once connected, anyone who emails to that email ID will create a ticket inside Deskera CRM. And then you'll be able to see it inside there. We have our preferences. So this is where you're able to deactivate or activate Powered by Deskera in campaign and web forms. And import logs, so you can see your imported data. Next, let's go to contacts. Inside here, I can see the name, the phone number, the open deals, the owner of my different contacts. So I can see them all here. And you'll see that Kelly Computers has populated over here. The reason for this is that Deskera Books syncs its contacts to Deskera Sales, and Deskera Sales will sync its contacts to Deskera Books. So that way the information's always in sync. So if you think about it, if you connect to Shopify, WooCommerce, or Amazon, your contact information from those e-commerce sites will sync to Books, and Books will sync it all the way to Sales. So the information will populate. I can also select certain contacts, for example. I can drill into my contact, see the address label, any custom fields. I can create an email from here, activity note log. I can see the deals listed here as well. I can also select my contacts. And then I can look at changing the sub-owner, changing the label, changing the visibility, delete, copy, export, or change owner. I can click on columns, and I'm able to decide which columns I don't want to see or see. For example, maybe I don't want organization or people, and I save it. Actually, let me also remove size of company, and maybe I want to move owner all the way up here as well. Yep, save. And then you can see it changes based on my requirements. I can also import my contacts and create contacts up here, and I can also see the phone booth as well here. Next, let's go to marketing. I can create my segments inside here and assign which segment I want. I can also create my emails and design my email templates. And I can go and create my form. So what is a form? Inside form is where I can select which fields I want. Let me just edit one of these. So for example, if I want address, I can drag address over here. If I want contact type, I can just drag it over here. So I select my fields, and you have two choices. You can create a form for contacts, and you can create a form for deals. Then you'll see the fields here, and you can just drag and drop what you want. After that, you can display a thank you message or redirect to another web page. And I can do follow-up properties. So for example, who should be picked up, assign sub-owner, assign visibility, assign label, and I can save and publish. After that, I can take this code and embed it into my web page. After that, someone or a contact fills in this information and submits. It'll automatically create a contact or deal based upon which form you use inside the system. So that way it continues to create information. It's linked together. Let's go to campaigns. Inside here, I can add a campaign. I can put in the campaign name. Subject. Sales event. I can select a category. I can add a category I want. Click next. Select the segments. Click next. I also can create a segment there. I can also select a template. So I'm selecting a pre-designed template, but you can select your own as well. And of course, I can modify it. I can just drag and drop images, boxes, half sections, 1/3 sections, dividers, link block, links, list items directly into here. I can also see what it looks like on the tablet as well as on the mobile phone. And then I can save and continue. After that, I can click next. Now I can use my own email. So I can add up to 5 different accounts. And again, I put my sender name, email address, username, password, and the outgoing mail server and port, and whether or not I allow non-secure certificates. I fill in all this information. But if I don't want to use that, then I can go to Deskera email services. Put in the name, sender email. And then after that, I can schedule for now or schedule for later. For example, maybe I want this tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I can also save this as draft, send test email to make sure it looks all right, and then I can schedule it. And then I can go to campaign. After it's sent out, then I can go click here and see my different reports. Then I can see how many people have opened it, last opened, who did not open, who didn't click, who bounced, and who unsubscribed here as well. Let's go to services. Inside here, we can go to guides. And I can create my different types of segments here by clicking add, and then I can click section or article. So I can create my different sections here, as well as creating an article. I can also go here and see all my different articles. I can click 3 dots, edit, archive, or delete. If I click edit, I can see the information here. As you can see, it's just you can add in your own pictures, you can add in your text, and add in your information. And you can just modify it accordingly. So for example, why do I have such a big space up here? I can just delete it up here and move it on up. I'm able to bold, italicize, underline, strike through, bullets, numbering. I can change the font size, add a link, add pictures. And then if everything's good, I can save. If I want to publish, I can click publish. And I can say visible to sign-in users or to everyone, what section does it go under, and who's the author. Next, let's go to support. Inside here, I can see, support. Inside here, I can see all my unassigned tickets. I can see any pending tickets, any unsolved tickets, and I can create a ticket here. Put in the requester. And then I can select the assignee. The type is a question, incident, task, and the priority. Then I can add any internal notes, email. Just to give you an example. And you can see the ticket's been created. If someone emails using that email ID that we used earlier, the ticket will automatically populate here. For example, this one from David emails at demo88@gmail.com. Sending me in mail from here as well. Next, let's go to deals. Inside here, I can see all my different deals, and I can select my pipeline here. I can also add a pipeline. So you can create your own custom pipelines based on your requirements. You can add in all the stages you want. You can change the name. Any help desk. Help text. So this is a lead. Probability. Rotting days, how many days before it rots, and then you can save it. But we're just going to use the default one. Inside here, I can see all my deals. I can click here and see the list view. And I can see all the open ones. And I can immediately see if anything looks weird, like expected closure date for operating cell 500 monitors was expected close on 11/16/2020. Clearly something's not correct here. So then I can edit it or ask the guy what's going on. All right, so let's create a deal. So I can either create a deal by clicking on the plus sign here or click create deal up here. Then I can put in the deal name. I can select the contact person, or I can also select the organization. So for example, web services. I can see the contact automatically populates, but I can always change it. Select the owner and sub-owner, the deal value. Select my pipeline, set pipeline stage, closing date, deals date, any remarks, and then I can save it. And then I can see it right here. I can click on it, drill on in. I can click on the 3 dots and edit it. I can create an email. So for example, if I want to send an email off, then I can input the to from and the subject and the text here as well. And then after all that's done, I can send it on off. Send it off. And then keep track of your emails in Deskera. I can also log an email here as well. I can click on activities, create an activity. Put in the activity name, for example, a call. And then I can see a call, meeting, task, deadline, email, a lunch here. I can select the date, assign it to someone, assign the contact person who we're connecting to, and I can send a reminder, and I can save it. Once this is done, I can see my activity here. I can edit, delete, or I can mark as done. I can input a notes and input a logs. And I can go here, and then I can change the deal stage just by dragging and dropping. So I just drag and drop it to wherever I'd like. So for example, maybe I'll drag and drop it to contract sent. And then I can drag it to closed won or closed lost based upon my requirements. Let's say closed won. Next, let's go to activities. Inside here is where I can see all my different activities. For example, my call. And I can generate a calendar URL. From this URL, I can copy it and I can paste it in my different calendars, and then the activities will actually populate in that calendar. So that way I can keep track of it. I can also see a list view of all my contacts, and I can filter out by calls, meetings, and other activities as well, from all, to do, and done. All right, and that was a quick look at CRM. Sales CRM. Any questions? No? People. Okay. All right, let's go to Deskera People. Inside here, we have our different settings. So I can go to my company settings. And again, this all changes based upon which country you select. So for example, this is Singapore. So it has Singapore statutory compliance. But if you select other countries, their statutory compliance will populate. For example, like in the US, you'll have Social Security number instead of NRIC, for example. I can see the company details. Is this a work location? I can set up the work week. I can set up the offboarding checklist. And this is specifically for Singapore. You can set up your CPF accounts. I can see your performance, and I can see the questions. Are you happy? Why are you not happy? Please be happy. You can add in as many questions as you'd like. Let's see. And then you can set the appraisal date and the appraisal period frequency. We can go to the IRAS settings. Again, this changes based upon your country compliance. And this is more or less mapping its components to different parts of the IR8A. We have bank accounts. So this is where you can set up your bank account for gyro. So for example, DBS, OCBC. I could always add in other ones. And we have DBS, HSBC, Citibank, UOB, OCBC, and CIMB. We have our payslip designer. So for example, we have our default payslip designer, but if you want to add in your own, you can copy ours and make changes to it, or you can go and create it from scratch. It's up to you. I just want to show you if you drag into text. I go here, I can then select a placeholder value. And these placeholders change based upon which country you're in, because for example, inside here, you have your SDL, employer CPF, you have your MBMF, your NRIC FIN, or work pass number. So you can select which one you want here based upon your requirements. Whereas in the US, you would have Social Security number, and you would have other information as well. All right, so let's go to employees and under employee list. Inside here, I can see all my different employees. And let me just click on the three dots and let me edit. Inside here, I can see the designation, birth date, date of joining, contact, I can set the compensation details. Is he full-time, part-time? What's his basic salary? The period is in month, year, or hour. And I can set the effective date for the salary. So if I wanted to start from a different date, I can do that here as well. I can set up the payment details, payment method, bank, branch code, and account number. You need this information if you want to create a gyro file. Please take note, gyro file may not be in everyone's system. It may be specifically to very certain locations. For example, I selected Singapore, so you can see gyro here. I can assign a component. I can do a salary advance. So I can put in the salary advance amount, distribution date, repayment, start date, installment amount. So I can fill in all this information for salary advance. And next we're at the statutory compliance. So again, this all changes based on which country you've selected. Inside here is for Singapore, so you have your choice of permanent residence, Singapore foreign employment pass, S-pass, or work permit. So you can choose which one, and the information changes accordingly. So for example, permanent residence, start a permanent residence, employee qualifications, foreigner, you can see FIN, employment pass issue, employment pass expiry. If I look at S-pass, S-pass issue, S-pass expiry, and you can see here sectors. So for example, service sector, other, and what's your dependency ceiling? Base tier, tier 1, tier 2. And we have our work permit. So again, we have work permit categories, high skilled, base skilled, and our different sectors as well. Also under employees, we have contractors. So you can generate and create your different contractors here. I can add a contractor. And it can be an individual or business. John Lee. Lee. So I can fill in all the information. I can say, does he get an hourly wage or is it a fixed amount? So depending on your contractor, it may change. So for example, I'm just doing $60, and then I can select the payment method, direct deposit, cash, or check. I'm just going to do cash. All right, and I'm saving it. All right. Under components, this is where you can create your different components. You can put in the component name, for example, bonus. Component type, is it a deduction or an earning? Is it fixed or variable based upon different situations? Percentage of basic salary, percentage of specific component, amount per day for the days worked. So you can determine which one you want. We also have frequency. Is it every pay run? I'm pretty sure everyone will love a bonus every pay run, but then becomes your salary. Monthly, quarterly, or yearly. So you can decide which one. Start of the year, the end of the year. So you can determine all this. And compliance. Does it apply to CPF, tax, SDL, or SHG? We have our pay schedule. So this is where you can generate all your different pay schedules. And we allow you to create multiple ones, which is great because, for example, let's go and create a schedule called monthly. And then I can select the period, monthly, weekly, twice per month, and biweekly. Because your employees may have different work weeks, different schedules. For example, your office staff may be monthly, while your shop floor staff or your engineers may be, weekly or twice per week based upon different requirements. And they also may have a different work week. Your office staff may be Monday through Friday, while your shop floor or work staff is Monday through Saturday. So you can have different work weeks and different payments based upon this. And then you can choose last working day of the month for pay date, first pay date, and then you can select the work period, and you can select whether it applies to all users or not. All right, let's generate a pay run. So inside here, I can see all my processed pay runs. I can add a pay run, select the schedule. I also can do ad hoc pay runs if required. So let me select monthly for this, for example. Let me select the work period. So for example, yeah, June's fine. And I can say this applies to all users, and I can process. Now inside here, I can see all the information, such as overtime. I can click on here, and then I can see the overtime rates. And it shows 1.5 or 2. And I can update the number here. So if I want to make this 4 or 5, I can do that. I can also see loss of pay, any additional earnings, deductions, and employer contributions. I can click on the 3 dots, and I can delete or edit it. So if I want to add a component, put in loss of pay, I can do that here. Now, if everything looks good, let's see. Also, it says update on the overtime hours, and hours worked will be reflected after clicking next. So after I click next, it'll reflect accordingly. So you can just update it here. It'll update accordingly. And then when you click next, it'll update. For example, 10. And then I can update George's, for example, to 1. And then I can click next. And I can update the rate. For example, it's not fixed 1.5 or 2. I can change it to 2, 3, 4, whatever number I want to input in there. Because it may change based upon your different requirements as needed. Now it's processing the payroll. And now I can see, for example, 10 hours, it's updated, 1 hour is updated, and the amounts are updated accordingly. I can click process. And then it says, to ensure accuracy, please review your payroll numbers and make sure they're 100% correct. Do you wish to continue to process pay run? Yes. So I click yes. It'll process. And then I can choose whether to view the summary or to click finish. If I view summary, I can check and make sure everything looks correct. If I click finish, it'll process. I can also cancel the payroll here as well. For example, if I view the summary and something looks wrong, I can always cancel. And I can see up here, of course, the total payroll cost, net pay, employer contribution, and pay run date. All right. So next, let's go to the pay run. And then let's click on the credit card. So inside here, I can click on this little credit card ID. And inside here, I can select my bank, put in my bank ID, select my account, and select the different employees. And I can generate my gyro file here. So I can generate it, download it, and then upload it in my bank. So if you have a lot of employees and you need to make a payment, instead of going in to your bank and inputting one by one, you can generate a gyro file, and it'll copy all your employee information. And if you have the bank details inside there, you'll have all their bank details as well, and it'll have their net pay, their salary. And once you download it, it'll contain all this information. You go to the bank and you can upload it to the bank. Then, based upon a certain time, the gyro file will be processed, and then the payments will be done. So that way all the employees can be paid. Their salary will be paid. Next, let's go to reports. Inside here, we have our payroll summary report. We have our CPF e-submission file. So inside here, I can download my submission file based upon my CPF account, year and month. I have my IRAS summary report, my IR8A form, my IR8S form, Appendix 8A, Appendix 8B, and my IRAS e-submission. So again, I can select my CPF account, year, and I can select my IRAS forms here. These are all, of course, statutory requirement reports. Based upon which country you select, these reports will change. We also have the IRAS AIS submission. So inside here, I can see my CPF, my year. I can see my different employees. And I can see my IR8A and my IR8S, Appendix 8A, Appendix 8B. I can see any IRAS submitted files, any IRAS submitted and validation log. And if I click up here and select, I can click validate. Do you want to validate selected users' IRAS details through API submission? If you do, you click yes, or you click no, based on your requirements. So you can validate through here, and then after it validates, you can validate and submit. And that's a quick look at Deskera People. Any questions? Everyone okay? Everyone still awake? All right. Well, thank you again for joining Tuesday training. If you have any questions, let us know. And if you want to see something or another feature or anything like that, just let us know, and we can look upon having that for the next time. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.